welcome back to The Why. I'm your host, Dylan Mullins, hanging out here with my good friend, JP Wilson of Patriot Construction Group. Better yet, awesome father, husband, and business owner. Just wanted to talk to JP today and figure out, what's going on inside his brain and figure out what his why is. So we just actually did some exercise with the retreat, man, so that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And our why is super important. There's a lot of times when we do business, there's guys that do business that they don't know why they're doing it. I know we keep on saying why, but like there's a lot of guys that do business and they don't know why they're doing it. They don't have a purpose. They don't have a common mission. They don't have something that they go after, and they just kind of fall flat most of the time because they don't have that mission. Our mission, the reason we do business, and everybody always says, they're like, oh, do you love roofing? And it's not that I don't love roofing, but like roofing is not my why. We support a local missionary group. My wife and I are huge into ministry. We believe God called us into this business to be a light in the business. We've had the opportunity to pray. I gave a roof away to a guy, and I told him, the only stipulation is that this guy will allow you to witness to him and pray for him in his living room. And the guy prayed for him, and one of our sales guys prayed for him in the living room. We gave the guy a roof for it. And we don't give everybody roofs for praying for people, but I just feel like God
it's not a good business model.
I just feel like God had laid it on my heart to do that. And we try to follow God in our business. We feel like God has ordained our business for a bigger purpose. A lot of our story.
But the people don't. So if you want to share anything, just to facilitate the conversation, the crazy part is, and you just shared it with our team, is that you went from 3 years or 4 years ago, you were working in a firehouse, really to the man, if you will, that we all joke about, and now you live a great life. You've exited one multi-million-dollar business. You've got several others that you are involved in. It's maybe talk about why you got out of the fire service or what drove you away from that and towards business. There was a lot of sacrifice getting into the fire service. We had I had to pay for my own school. I had to go through a bunch of testing and stuff like that. I would go to an interview and there were 250 people for one spot, and everybody was just as qualified. And I finally got that job, and I thought that was it. I was like, man, this is it. Like we've made it. Like we have this job and we've made it. And then 4 months after I got the job, I got laid off, which is crazy. I had a 4-month-old daughter. My daughter was born 4 days before I got the job, and I got laid off, and just things really kind of they didn't really spiral from there. But that's where they started changing. I was like, I just realized that even in this fire job and this service job, there was nobody there to care for me. And then we I got hired back a year later. I came back and I was there for 13 years, and my wife was there for a little over 15 years. So I guess I was there for 12 years and she was there for a little over 15 years. And I looked at my leadership, man, and I was just like, dude, I can do a way better job than this. Why am I sitting here just going through the motions every day, like I'm happy? And I used my time when I wasn't on calls to research how to do business, research tax strategies, research, everything that I possibly could to just dig in. I went to my wife and I was like, hey, it's time, I'm quitting. And we were right in the middle of building a house. We had that's part of the story.
we had this really nice cushy life. We were making over $150,000 in combined income, and it wasn't the money that I wasn't satisfied with. It was the leadership.
Yeah.
It was the fact that that this guy shouldn't be leading. The people that were there shouldn't be in the positions they were in, and they were, and it bugged me.
Do you think that if that leadership had been better, that your life may have been on a different path?
Yeah.
Do you think you would have stayed?
Yeah, and my wife and I talked about it a bunch. I think I would have tested to be
a lieutenant, but and to be part of that leadership team, but I just didn't see the value in it.
Yeah, the leadership above you wasn't worth chasing because there was no one to look up to.
Right.
You know,
and I had a couple of good leaders. There was, I'm not saying everybody there like was sucked, but the people that I was under wasn't very good leadership.
Yeah, man, and it's one thing that we talk about that's crucial and pivotal in business. And ironically, to your story, man, like, you know, we were just talking downstairs. I have a teaching degree, which I openly share with a lot of people because I tell people we educate. Yeah, man, you always learn something, right? Yeah. So I always tell people we educate homeowners, and that's, you know, why we do what we do and all that good stuff. But it's funny because like that teaching degree has nothing to do with where I'm at now.
Right.
And I tell people, like, I was listening to freaking podcasts before podcasts were podcasts. They were YouTube videos. Like, that's not what they were calling them, or maybe they were, and I just wasn't paying any attention. But they were YouTube videos. I was delivering pizzas, and I was, like, listening to real estate seminars and business, you know. And then when I got really back into the roofing side of it, man, it's crazy because I just learned from just listening. Like, I would just turn it on and listen and just figure it out. So our story and paths cross a little bit that way, you know. Just the school of hard knocks is what got us to where we were in business, man.
Well, you know, the crazy thing about listening is that, like in the Bible, like everything you hear, like God spoke us into existence. God spoke us into this. God spoke and told the winds where to blow and the ocean where to stop. And then when Jesus came, Jesus spoke.
Yeah.
To the tree, the fig tree, and cursed it. I mean, he spoke to the earth, and the earth listened to him. I mean, there's that much power in words.
Yeah. Well, we were literally, like, that's been kind of, you know, we focused on a few things. It's funny when we do these retreats, man, like, I always talk about, like, there's a common theme that you never know until you get there, right? Like, you know, I ran retreats, and then we start talking about addiction, and literally, like, almost everyone in the room has a story, right? About that. Here, it's been a big about let's change and shift our mindset. Let's get away from something. And then the manifestation piece, like we continually talk about, like how you speak your words is what matters, and you know, the listening component. Yes, you have to listen because that's the only way we're going to learn. That's the only way we're going to learn from God where we need to go in life. That's the only way we're going to learn about any of this crap, man. Like I am not smart enough to figure this out on my own by any means, man. And I think a lot of us can relate to that are successful, really. Yeah. You know, like I told the team downstairs, I am too stupid to figure out most of this stuff. Like now I just have people that are smarter than me to figure it out.
But you got a degree, so you're like so much better than everybody else.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. Yeah. It's
society's trick.
Oh man.
It's another show.
Yeah. Twilight Zone. Like no, that's good, man. So like I know one thing that like so we hit it on the beginning, right? Like your why, your company's common mission or common goal right now is with the kids in Liberia, right?
Yep.
So that being said, I've heard you talk about it, so I'm gonna press on you a little bit because I know it's there. When you're thinking about that with those kids, when you're processing that piece of it, why are you driven to that? Like, why is that the reason, you know, Ed Milet talks about the reason he gets up every morning and works out is because it's his daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
The reason that Patriot, what I'm hearing is the reason why Patriot does what they do. It's not only because of that, but one of the biggest reasons and the biggest why is because these kids in Liberia need us.
Yes. So how it really affected me was that I know, we built a house. We built a room especially for just set aside so that missionaries can have a place to stay when they come back. We felt that they needed rest. And so we built a room in our house for traveling missionaries. You know, and it's an extra room in our basement, and there's a living room down there, and it's set up so that if somebody wants to stay, they can stay. And we had a couple that stayed with us, and that, you know, Jessica and Drew Welch from Liberia, they stayed with us, and man, we spent 2 days just pouring in. They just were talking about the kids, and they were talking about their mission, and they were talking about like the need and everything, and it just wasn't like given to UNICEF or given to like Goodwill or given to somebody else. Like these people are the hands and feet of God. Like these people they're doing it over there. Like they're directly, like if I send them $1, that dollar goes directly to a child. There's no administrative fees. there's no anything. So I felt like, you know, God had just laid it on our heart that like, that we wanted to directly help these people, and they just didn't have much funding. There, you know, there was so much they needed, but they were doing with so little. And God had blessed us with this business, and even when we didn't have money, like I had talked about, like we wiped out our business checking account to send money because we felt it was what God told us to do. And it probably wasn't the best business decision.
By any means, no.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if you'll hear any of that. Like,
yeah, there's nobody up on the stage at any of the conferences talking about, hey, you know what? Just take all the money in your account today and just donate it. But no, I mean, when you're called to do something, I mean, when you believe enough in the mission, you know, that's what, you know, a lot of these guys talk about. Nobody's about it, right? Nobody wants to be about it, and that's one thing that you can vouch for, man. You've been about it.
Yeah.
You know,
and you know, and I wanted to see what hunger felt like. So I mean, I went a week without eating. And just spent some time in prayer. Like it started off as a fast, but then it started off as like it ended as a mission to see like what these kids were going through, and like why it's important that we do this business so that they have the they can eat in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, the missionaries were like, man, you know, the guys helped us with the school and like they have all this stuff now and it's great, but they can't pay attention because they're so hungry. And then they were like, but if we feed them the worms and parasites they get from the water, and they all have them, they can't keep anything down. So, I mean, it was simple. Sherry and I were like, what do you need, like monetarily wise, what do you need money wise for us to help you? And they said a number, and we feel like doubling it. So that's what we sent. And like now their food program is fully funded. Like these kids, they sent us a video the other day, and then I'll send you the video.
Yeah, we'll drop the link in the comments.
Yeah, and these kids are just like enjoying a meal before they get started on their day. And it's just so they can pay attention and so they can absorb everything, you know, and then they get medication for it. And it's an amazing feeling to watch, like when our guys go out and they sell roofs and we put roofs on. It's amazing to see like what those guys are providing, because I'm just facilitating it. Those guys are doing it. Our guys are the guys that are out there doing it, and they know, and they tell the homeowners, but they're the ones bringing the dollars in. I'm just making sure it goes to the right spot. So the guys are just, you know, they're the ones that are feeding these kids and the customers. It's amazing. It's amazing to watch.
What would you? So like one thing that I've always respected with you is you know what your purpose is. You have known company mission. Like before Revolt,
right.
JP and his wife Sherry knew what their company mission was, and you know, before I met you, you knew. So somebody that's, you know, what advice would you give somebody that's maybe not found that purpose in life, that they feel like, man, I'm just going through the motions. I'm at the fire service with JP 5 years ago. What would you say to that guy? Like, how would you let him know that you know, or how do you have any advice to find that path towards that purpose? I mean, God obviously put the Welch family in front of you guys, and you've obviously been able to bless them abundantly with your hard works and fruits. But and what about the guy that maybe just feels lost and doesn't have a purpose?
Yeah, I say this a bunch. Our dreams and our goals are right on the other side of fear. And if we continue to allow fear to keep that wall up, man, we'll never reach them. I mean, like right now, like, you know, I can't get mad about anything that's happened in my life. I can't, if I'm stressed out, you know, if I'm tired, if I'm whatever, this is what I prayed for 5 years ago. Like sitting here on this couch talking to you is what I prayed for 5 years ago. And now I'm living in it, you know? So the only thing that would hold me back from doing anything else is fear. Fear is a big factor in you know, and we like, you know, we have an amazing church, an amazing pastor. He preached a sermon on yet. Like, I'm not there yet.
Yep.
And he said, dreamers use the word yet. So they don't use the word, you know, I'm going to get there. I'm just not there yet. I haven't done that yet. You know, that's how I feel, man. Like we haven't even helped the Welches out yet. Like what we really want to do. We haven't even scratched the surface yet of what we can do.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because like what came to my mind is like when a good buddy we both know, I won't name drop because it's
Yeah.
like, it's not my business, but, you know, when I asked him, like, dude, how's it feel to be a millionaire? You know, now that you got it in your hands, like, he got cashed out.
Yeah.
And he goes, dude, I've always been a millionaire. The money just in the bank. I'm like, bro, kiss my, you know, like, get out of here, man. Like, but when you have that mindset, that's when you can truly fulfill your purpose because, you know, Steve Harvey says it all the time. I've been doing these, like, every morning when I get in the shower, like, I'll throw up and I'll listen to, like, 20 minutes of Steve Harvey talking, dude. And, like, honestly, man, he's so good. But he says, the only time you can get true fulfillment is when you exploit your gifts that God gave, your true gift that God gave you.
Yeah.
And he says his gift was comedy. I truly believe that my gift is facilitating things like this and helping people out and, you know, helping people realize their fullest potential.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with me, and it's ironic because a lot of times I think that's the case. I mean, do you feel what would you identify? Because I think you're a super self-aware guy. What would you identify as your gift that God's given you that you need to exploit?
Yeah, man, my gift is building people. And I tell everybody in my company that I build people. I don't build houses. I don't build roofs. I don't build whatever. Like, I build people. Like, man, like when I have a person that comes into our company, like my favorite, like you were saying, your favorite thing is, you know, is this. And my favorite thing is when we have a new person, like, man, like we have a younger guy in our company. The other day he told me, he's like, man, he's like, JP, he's like, you don't even realize how you've changed my life in the past 2 weeks.
It's special.
I'm like, bro, like that's worth any amount, any check, anything, man. Like, that's why I like doing business.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get that with my leadership, you know? And like, if you're a leader, your people deserve to get that. Your people deserve to get the feeling that you've changed their life.
And I think that right there is exactly why our business culture is so messed up in this country, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many and I don't even call it the old guard because there's a lot of new guys who are just as trash, man.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that when people are like, well, when my generation, it's like, bro, every generation has been like that. Like, just chill.
Right.
But when we decide to keep the generational cycles happening, we talk about them within our families all the time, right? The generational BS is what one guy has called it, and I've always kind of stuck with me. But when we do that within a work environment and as a leader, you have to remember that you want to be the leader that you deserved, not that you had.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, and I think as we've all had crappy leaders, unfortunately.
Right.
And honestly, it's probably why a lot of us have started businesses because you go, that dummy can do it, I can too, right?
Yep.
And a lot of us have a story similar to that, man. So as we kind of wrap this thing up, is there anything that God's put on your heart that you just feel like, you know, people need to hear, or maybe that this, you feel like this message might reach? And I'll just open up the floor to you.
Yeah. So a lot of people think that they have to wait till they get $1 million to help. It costs $360 to sponsor a kid, and let me tell you why that's so important. So in Liberia, these kids they're not going to first grade until they're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and they finally get to go to first grade. And they have to go to this legacy learning school that the Welches are doing, and then they have to learn how to read and then go to school. So they're just learning, like in this legacy school, they're just teaching them like the basics so that they can go to school. And costs $360 to sponsor a kid. The Welches wanted to sponsor 50 this year. We've sponsored 155, and we do that, and it's so special to me because if the family can't sponsor a kid, if the kid doesn't get sponsored, the young boy goes first, then the older boy, and then the young girl. But if there's no money for the girls get sold.
Yeah.
So they get sold to be a servant to the poorest family member, the ones that's doing the worst. And I just vow that there will be nobody in this village that is sold. You know, so my mission is to completely fund every single kid in 14 villages to go to school.
Well, and I made you a promise, and I want to put it on this podcast. I need to get my 5 in that I pledged,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that through this, you know, hopefully we can pledge and get a few more. So we'll drop that link. I know JP's got it.
See you on the next episode of The Why.